I mean, good evening, everybody. Do we have a session? Jigar ji, MB.
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Good evening.
Are we waiting for people to join in? Numbers are increasing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think there
because
was
the
some.
link was not shared, na? Link was a challenge, I think. Some other link was shared.
Good afternoon. Can you all see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I mean, full
Yes,
screen
visible.
or
Not in full screen, rather.
yeah, just 1 minute. That's what even I thought. It's not showing in full screen now.
Yeah. It is on full screen right now, Mr. Mehul.
Okay. Good afternoon. And
Good evening, sir.
oh yeah, it has become good evening now. We were to start at 4. I guess there was some link problem, and it didn't happen. But anyway, people at HO could make it. Let me introduce myself. As you all know, I'm Mehul Kuwadia. The book that you would have received for training evaluation has been authored by me, and we'll take this session. Uh, Normally, it used to be about 10 sessions, but now we are going to finish it in 5 sessions. So we will go in a bit of quick succession. Uh, at any given point of time, if you have any doubts, clarification, anything that you would like to ask while I'm presenting, you can always ask. I'm very flexible in that manner. I would not like to, wait till the end of the slideshow to, take up questions. Better to sort out the questions as and when it comes up. So you all know,
Mehul,
yeah,
sir. You said
yes,
that usually it is 10 sessions and now you short down to 5 sessions. Are we going to cover up everything if it is even 5 sessions?
yeah, yeah. I'll try my
Okay.
best. I'll try my
No,
best. Believe me,
I mean, I, I'm
even
sure
10,
I'm sure, sir, you would be able to do your best. But what about us? Complete, I'm trying to understand everything in 5 sessions would become a little difficult.
that is one of the reasons I've taken the last session. That in
Mhm.
case there are some questions, there is something more to be done, I would like to do justice, and that's the reason I've taken up the last session 4 to 6.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess even the first during the first session there was some confusion, because of which my session didn't happen last Sunday. So I think there is some jinx. Okay, but luckily we have been able to remove the jinx today. Right, Jigar? You seem to be smiling so much.
Yeah, because of this, what you just said, you're covering the comment that was going on, the discussion that was happening.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
smiling about it.
right.
So I think the jinx is over now. We are meeting you, so it's going to be great
Yes.
going.
Yeah,
Be able to
yeah,
complete it much better.
yeah, yeah,
Sir, as such, Jigar is always having a smiling face.
yeah. Great.
I try
Always
to.
see a smile on his face.
Yeah, yeah. Great. Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. I cannot see everybody's face on this side because I'm in a full presentation mode. Who was that? Good evening.
That was Kathy.
Okay,
Good
Kathy.
evening.
Good to see you. So I think we have what about 18, 19 people right now?
28
25.
so far.
25. Good. Okay. Fine. So let us start with this paper. Okay. Training measurement and training evaluation. I hope you got the course material, right? Hello.
No, sir.
No?
No, sir.
So only some have received, some of them are yet to receive.
You haven't got the course material yet.
No, sir. No.
Not received, sir. Not even a single
Not
book.
received, not received.
So shall we again call it a jinx?
You can do that, sir, but if you could share the PDF of whatever we've been taught, that will help meanwhile.
I will, yeah, I can share the PPT of the presentation. I will definitely do that. Somebody can, I'm sure your group will be having some coordinator, and that person can send me a mail, or if you want, if there is some common email of your group, then I'll put it on the. I can do that till the time you get your
Thank
textbook.
you.
Till the time you get your textbook, because there's nothing confidential about it, and anyway you are going to get the textbook. So what I'm going to present is the gist from that textbook, the important aspects of it, which we are going to talk about. Let me tell you this. This is the most difficult part of the whole training process. The easiest part of the training process is, probably identify a topic and get the trainer and get it organized, and then the training is over. Things are left to participants for implementation and all. In my experience of about now 38 years in this field, also being a consultant since 28 years, I see very few organizations actually getting very seriously into training measurement, training evaluation, training efficiency, effectiveness, and taking it further. With the result, what happens is that many a times we do not really understand the return on investment, the impact of training. One of the reasons in my experience is that even till today, there's a quite a bit of training which is considered or which is done as motivational training. Okay, so in the sense that my client would come and say that why don't you do some self motivation workshop, thoda sa inko energy dal do, let them be a little charged up and feel good, so that maybe for they feel that the organization is doing things for us, and they feel good about it, and then the productivity will increase. And then at the end of it, honestly, hardly any people measure the effectiveness. Yes, there are organizations who have ISO and such other certifications where evaluations are compulsory, and TS certifications, etc., for automobile in such industries, where evaluation is done in a structured manner. But over there also, many times I see that it is just the measurement which is done, but not really the evaluation. And that is really the crux. So we always keep on saying at the end of the program, we'll give an evaluation form and all that. Majority of the time, it only lands up as a measurement. So in a very simple example, if I say, if you go to a tailor, okay, when we go to a tailor and we say, okay, fine, I want a tailor-made clothes from you, or whatever, trouser or shirt or whatever, then he measures, and based on, he'll note it down, and based on that he'll do cutting and stitching and things like that. Okay, and then now this is made to measure. That's why we say it is tailor made. Now whether it is fitting well, does it look proper, has he considered a few things about our body counters and things like that, is the evaluation part of it. So evaluation comes after the measurement. If the measurement has been proper, with a certain criteria, with certain standard, certain all the things in place, then we can evaluate whether the process of measurement was correct or not, and second, that whether whatever was measured now, how does it look like. So there is a quantitative and there is a qualitative. Evaluation is more of a little qualitative in nature, because evaluation tells us whether the impact took place or not. Measurement tells us whether the event took place, and certain parameters of the event which were there, whether they were in place or not. So evaluation tells us whether the results have been achieved or not, and measurement tells us whether the the activity or the event or whatever, took place over. So if you go back to the tailor example, he takes the measurement and it is as per the measurement. Now evaluation is whether the measurement was done in a correct manner, whether how does it look on you, whether you are comfortable or no, so those are the evaluations. So they're very broad background I wanted to give with respect to what are we dealing. Now, because of these kind of complexities, what happens, and there are too many theories also within the training, measurement, and evaluation. So, because of these kind of complexities, a whole lot of time there is a training measurement which is done, and it is termed as training evaluation. So, at the end of the program, a form will be given, and there will be certain 10, 15 standard questions which will be there. Now, these questions are typically questions which are related to measurement, like whether the time given was enough or no, whether the faculty was pace was fast or slow, whether the faculty's style was good or no, whether the training was relevant to you or no, whether you will be able to use the training or no. Okay, and these are the what is the best thing you liked about the program. Suggest something to improve, and then about the physical facilities and things like that. So all these are measurement factors to ensure that okay, uh, things were proper. Evaluation in reality would actually happen uh, if we take a test at the end of the program to know whether what participants were supposed to know. Okay, they have they come to know or not. That is the first thing. Second is whether the skill was transferred on. We are talking about training. Okay, we are not talking about some motivational lectures and those kind of clips which keeps on coming on WhatsApp and all. Those motivational factors or motivational events which we talk about are like, I would again give an example. It's like a vitamin pill. So if I have fever, the actual medicine might be crocin or Dolo or something like that, a paracetamol. But if I take a bit vitamin pill, okay, now because of that, I may feel good for some amount of time because the vitamin will put in some energy into my body and I may feel a bit good. But all that is temporary. The actual impact would be done by the crocin. So if I do not consume crocin, the impact will not come. Now, similar things keep on happening, as far as training is concerned. So there are a lot of motivational programs which are conducted. These motivational programs are like those vitamin pills, feel good. The the objective of training is primarily skill transfer. So if the skill transfer doesn't happen, then the training doesn't happen. If the skill transfer doesn't happen, the training doesn't happen, the learner doesn't learn, there is no implementation, there is no impact, and then there is no improvement. That process is the evaluation process. And hence, at the end of the program, the first thing that we need to understand is that has the person gathered the conceptual input which was required to be able to perform a certain skill. Okay, so very simple terms, if you say driving, somebody wants to learn driving. Now, driving is a skill. So, initially, was there an conceptual input? That means, does he understand what is the steering wheel, what's a gear, what's a brake, what's an accelerator, what are the functions of some other things which are there on the dashboard, and how do you read that? So, he gets a perspective. So knowledge becomes the base. If there is a proper knowledge, then the acquisition of the skill becomes better because one knows that how to use the skill. The whole purpose of acquisition of the skill is to perform effectively. So when I learn to drive a car, okay, and maybe after 15 days or 20 days, whatever the RTO gives me a license, on the first day, I will not be able to drive the car like 0 to 60 in 3 minutes, 3 seconds, and things like that, and just zoom the car across the road. All that will not happen. But what will happen, or what is to be measured and evaluated, is that is there the minimum required performance which the person has to deliver. So I may learn to drive the car, but on the road I may be driving the car at just 10 kilometers an hour. It may be too slow. So I have the skill, but I'm not performing the skill as per the minimum requirement. So minimum requirement is 30 kilometers an hour. That is the kind of speed at which you drive the car on the road. Now, if I'm not able to do it, I know how to drive the car, okay, but I'm not able to deliver the performance. That's where the evaluation comes in picture. The measurement is there, that the written test or the knowledge or some basic skill can be observed if you take a small test, and that okay, the person knows everything, but still he is not delivering the performance the way in which the organization or the system or the ecosystem is expecting to be delivered. So where is the problem? The problem could be attitudinal, the problem could be the fear with the person, and has the trainer taken into account or addressed those things. So that is the part of the evaluation. So the whole purpose of the evaluation is to ensure effective implementation. Okay, and we are, like I said, we are talking about training. So training is very much skill based. This is not knowledge based. So we all do understand that there is a big difference between uh, how we learned in universities, schools, colleges, and all, where the basic objective was acquisition of knowledge. Implementation of the knowledge was not very much over there. Maybe in some engineering colleges and medical and some professional courses, there's a little bit of hands-on practice which is given through internship and things like that. But still, the person is not up to a certain mark. So that's where a lot of difference comes between the the education setup or the academic setup, or where the knowledge is more important than the skill. So here we measure the effectiveness of the skill, the process in which the skill acquisition was to be done, and whether the person will be able to do that. So that's the background in which we have developed, and because of these kind of complexities, what happens is many of the organizations, many of the uh, training managers, and all, they avoid, because training measurement doesn't take much time, but training evaluation takes a lot of time. It is a lot of meticulous working. It is measurement of performance on certain set parameters and standard before the training, maybe during the training, then after the training. So, what is the kind of improvement which has happened, and whether that improvement has been positively impacting and achieving the objective of the training. So it's a very long process, and hence not many organizations do it. So I just wanted to bring it this to the table. So, when we look at the overview of this topic, okay. So now today, training evaluation, like I said, in many organizations, uh, where they talk in terms of level 1, level 2, level 4 kind of training and all. So over there in those places, it is a higher profile than what it used to be in the past. Previously, we used to only measure, okay, given questionnaire at the end of the session and find out how things are happening, or what the person has liked and not liked and things like that. Now it is in certain organizations where this is mandatory. They go to the next level, measuring the impact of implementing the learned skill to the performance. So there is a requirement to prove the connection between investment in the training and improvement in the organization. So that's basically the whole aspect of training, measurement, and evaluation is how has it really impacted the return on investment. So many times we tend to say that behavioral training and behavioral improvement or the impact of behavioral training on the organization is difficult. But believe me, as a training professional, if you are not able to do it, then we are not talking about the training program. We are only talking about some motivational thing happening here and there, or some developmental thing happening here and there. But even a behavioral program can actually be, the impact of the behavioral program can actually be measured through the structured process. So as we keep on moving through these 5 sessions, I will take you through one of these examples. So there are two problems which are associated with the evaluation process. Though I talked about it a little bit, so it is necessary to measure the exact knowledge and skill of each trainee before the start. So, like I said, that what was the level of performance that person had before the training, and what is really the level of performance the person is delivering after the training. So many of the trainings where this kind of performance can be like say driving, or people working on machines, or people say selling skills and all. So which are more action driven, I would say. There it becomes a little easy to measure this. Places where this may where like sorry trainings where this may be more where it may be more of behavioral in nature, it becomes a little difficult uh, uh, to measure that. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Then the second reason is another, like I said, another problem is that the workload related to the evaluation process is too huge, because evaluation is not really kind of one standard fits all. Unfortunately, that's what happens in many of the organizations. We have a standard evaluation form and we make participants fill that. Uh, in my experience, at least 20-30% of the form has to be training specific, has to be that program specific. Certain standard things may be there, which may be used for all the different programs. But if the evaluation process is not tailor made to the kind of the program that is happening, then the evaluation which you, or the figures or the results that you find out will become skewed. So the another reason why evaluation takes time is because of the workload which is related. So now let us see what is really training evaluation. So training evaluation, by definition, I'm taking the textbook definitions. So training evaluation is an attempt to obtain information, which is feedback on the effects of training program, and assess the value of training in the light of that information for improving further training. So one of the reasons is, so let's say we start an initiative. We say that okay, now this organization will implement SAP. So now, if that is going to be implemented, that means everybody across the organization will have to be trained on use of that SAP. The first batch that we conduct of that SAP, the evaluation of it and the impact of it, measuring the evaluation and impact of it is very important, because we need to ascertain that whether whatever objective we had, is it being achieved, where is it getting stuck, or how can the next batch, the delivery of the next batch will be improved. Because when we talk about an initiative, when we talk about training, which will happen across the organization, there will be 200 people, and then maybe 10, 12, 15 batches of such thing, then the effect of the first batch and the impact, the problems, blockages, whatever, needs to be really addressed, so that we fine tune the next batch. And as we move ahead, maybe maximum in 2 or 3 batches, the program design has to be perfect so that whatever we are expecting to achieve as a training objective, the performance objective at the end of it, we do achieve that. Evaluation of training can be used as a method of measuring change in knowledge, skills, attitude, job performance, cost, and the quality of the training facilities. Over here, like I was saying so many times, we say that behavioral, attitudinal, such aspects cannot be measured, but by definition, if you see textbook definition, it also says that it is not only measuring the change, the method of measuring the change in the knowledge. So it's not about just acquiring the knowledge, but it is also about the change in the knowledge. If you see in training model, unless the participant has the belief in the knowledge that he has acquired, okay, the participant will not have the motivation to implement the knowledge or the skill. And if he doesn't have the motivation to do it, he will not do it. So then what will happen is it will only remain at a knowledge stage. In the sense, yeah, I know, but I am not using it. So there are so many things in Excel we know, but we may not be using it. Some one of our colleagues would say, why don't you do that? Yeah, I know it, but I think I'm more comfortable with this. So the colleague may say, this is an old method. What you are doing is an old method, but what I'm sharing is a newer and a better and a faster method. But still we answer saying that maybe it is like that, but I'm more comfortable and it hardly takes 1 minute more, so it doesn't matter. So I'm giving you these kind of practical examples for all of us to really understand that why, in spite of knowing, in spite of the knowledge transfer, in spite of also skill transfer, the implementation does not, because the participant may not have the required belief or may not have the required motivation or may not have the required inclination to implement it and not implement it. All the effort that you make in designing the program, getting the faculty, organizing the program, the resources, etc., goes down the drain. To that extent, that training program actually becomes like a newspaper reading. So we read the newspaper, we get so much of knowledge from the newspaper, we become aware of so many things. But at the end of it, many of us, we just criticize, we say something, we say, okay, government has become this or that, or nowadays this is happening. And then we don't do any action really. And hence the impact or the effect of the training is not seen in the organization. At the end of the financial year, people asking, okay, what is the return on investment? People in finance or other departments may keep on saying that I don't see any impact or I don't see any improvement or this or that. It's a waste of effort. So all the blame comes on us. Why? To a certain extent, yes, we are responsible. But the fact is that the complete process needs to be audited so that we plug into it. So one of the reasons of training evaluation, like point number 2, is to measure that whether the change which was to be brought by this training in terms of knowledge or skills or performance has happened or not, and whether it has really impacted the organization performance. The major reason to evaluate training programs is to determine whether the training programs are accomplishing their specific training objectives. So it's not about, when we are talking about training evaluation, we are talking about the scientific way. It's not about just putting a tick mark on things to do. Okay, my things to do is coordinate training program. I should have, or I should organize one training program a month, and also my KRA or whatever things to do I should achieve. I get marks for it. Unfortunately, in many of the cases, in my experience, it tends to happen like that. Like, okay, as per the ISO requirement, there is to be 2 days of training per person per year or some other mandate which are there. So we have done that. And for the statistical purpose and things like that, we fill up those forms and all, so that people get any non-compliance or it's a certificate or a marks. So that is the routine part of it. But the purpose of training evaluation, like you see over here, is that every trainee has an objective and also has what I call as a performance objective. It's not just about training objective. It's not about that people will become more efficient, more effective. It's about when we say performance objective, people will become more efficient or effective in doing this A, B, and C things. So then we are relating the whole process of training to the performance. And if that performance happens, then we all know that it impacts the organization and the organization and the employee and everybody grows. So the purpose of training is organization effectiveness. So there are two things, like I said, there's training evaluation. So many times it's like measurement, and then there is training effectiveness. There is a difference. The training effectiveness refers to the degree to which trainees are able to learn and apply the knowledge and skill which they have acquired in the training program. So, like some time ago, I was saying that at the end of the program, we need to have a kind of a test, which we call it as an evaluation, which basically level 1 evaluation. We need to have a test where we need to know whether the person has acquired the required conceptual inputs, which is the knowledge related to the kind of performance that the person needs to do. And second, uh, whether the person has acquired a reasonable amount of skills or comfort level with the skills to be able to practice or deliver or do things, when the person goes back to the work situation. So that is what this talks about. Apply the knowledge and skills which they have acquired in the training program. Now, application of knowledge and skills also has a few other variables, factors which are related to it. Like I may go for a training program and I say on a time management program and I come back with a lot of tools and techniques and methods and I become very serious about managing that. Okay, and then I start doing it. The next day I come back from the program and maybe my colleagues who are the ecosystem, so my colleagues who are not trained on it, my senior who is not trained on it, they may see that kind of a change in me. And somewhere people tend to make comments like, oh, we know it very well, you've gone to a training program, so you are all that. And but all this will remain only for a week or so, and then finally you will come back to the old method of working. And which happens so many times. Now, why does this happen? Is because the ecosystem is not tuned to the training input given to the participant. So, if the ecosystem has not been, so these peers and colleagues and seniors have not been involved and told that look here, this person is going to come back from the program, do this, and we expect you to give support to it, and we expect you to appreciate or whatever, give support to it, and then you will also undergo this kind of a training batch by batch. So this is the kind of change that we are looking at, and then only the organization change, the organization improvement, the organization culture will improve. The impact of the training will be there on the organization culture, because at the end of all this is that when people when every employee in the organization starts becoming a performer, then the organization culture by itself becomes a uh, becomes a performing culture, becomes a platform for people, for performers to come here, look around and say, oh, everybody's working their best, doing this, doing that, etc., etc. So I also get motivated to perform like that. I get motivated, there may be some competition, there may be some pressure, but at the end of it, all this is organization. organization culture. So, coming back to the first point, training effectiveness, it refers to the degree to which trainees are able to learn and apply the knowledge and skills which they have acquired in the training program. So, A, are they personally doing it? Does the person have the motivation? B, if the person has been applying this newly learned skills, etc., does the ecosystem support him to do that? And then third, whether there was really a scope for such application. Because there are times when people are sent for, maybe a generic program, self-motivation, but the person is already motivated. However, the decision was that everybody in the organization or everybody in that level or every officer and executive grade will undergo this program. So then, whether the program is relevant to me or no, I am required to undergo. Those are also some of the factors which, as we keep on moving ahead, we will see. It's all there in the textbook that I have thought of. The effectiveness of the training depends on such factors as the attitudes, interest, ability, willingness, values, and expectation of the trainees and the training. Like I say, the complete ecosystem. If the ecosystem is not tuned, so I'll give you an example. Many years ago, I was doing a program on time management, and that was for managers, and talking about use of diary and things like that. And then there were a few participants who started kind of laughing or making sarcastic faces, comments. So I said, I realized something is not right over here. So I asked them, what is it? And they said, sir, what you're saying is very great. You all understand this. But unfortunately, our management has made a decision this year as a part of cost cutting. Nobody will be provided with a diary. And I was doing this program probably in December or January. So that's the time when we change the diary and the new diary comes in the picture. So, and then that had become some kind of an issue, a grudge with the management that the managers felt that even some 200 rupees are not being invested because it was a tradition that year after year the management used to do diaries to be managed. Now, see, for this 200 rupees, the management is organizing the program on time management, its time, energy, everything will be invested in that. But the basic resources for managing time, which is a diary, was not being provided. Okay, then how will the person? Not that. So I told these people that I mean, okay, fine. The management is maybe whatever reason. I don't want to be judgmental on that. But what stops you from spending it to your managers? You got good salary. What stops you from spending the 200 rupees and buying a diary on your own? At the end of it, it's going to help you manage, and you've been doing it since years now. So then came the reply, or that's where I understood that it's not a matter of 200 rupees. It's a matter of some practice, some principle, some way in which the management is approaching things, and we are not very happy with it. So then it has become a kind of an ego issue. Now with this, will my program ever make any difference to them? So at the end of the day, the participants, what you're saying is absolutely right, but we don't have the tools, so we're not able. So the effectiveness of the training, that's point number two, okay, depends on factors like the person's attitude, interest, ability, willingness, value, expectation of training, and the environment, training environment of the organization. The training program will become more effective if the trainees are eager to learn, if they are involved in the job, and if they have career strategies. In other words, if the participant doesn't see the training he's undergoing connected to his growth, personal growth, and career, believe me, the participants will not be so much involved or motivated or eager to learn. They may be eager to learn, but they will not be motivated to implement. Every participant, I've been doing now training more than 35 years, trained 35,000 managers. But my one experience, which is always there, is that if you are looking at effectiveness of the training, which is primarily implementation, the participant has to see the connect. See, every participant, whether it's a manager, the staff, or CXO level, knows that the training has been organized by the company. The company is paying the money and food and five-star hotel and all that stuff. The company is doing it because at the end of it, if the company has invested 25,000, they are expecting that through this program, my productivity will improve and the company will earn 50,000. I mean, because of this. So company will earn much, much more than because they are the stakeholder. And there is always the stakeholder inducement, which is there. The other way around, okay, so what? So everybody knows that the company is doing this. So there are so many times participants become selfish, self-centered, hamari kuch. And hence it is very important that the participants see that okay, I will be contributing, but what I'm learning is my gain, is a skill which will happen. It will remain with me always. It will become part of me permanently. So even if I leave this organization and go somewhere else, it will remain with me and it will help me grow. And that is that word career strategy becomes very important. So training program will become more effective if the trainees are eager to learn, if they are involved in their job, and if they have that career strategy. So typically speaking, if you do a training program for people who are 56, 57, so they will say, come here, listen, sit, and all that. And then, but in the back of the mind, they say, okay, really, I'm going to retire in 6 time. So fine, good. It's a good break for me. I'm coming here listening to some new things which is happening. But where am I supposed to be implementing? Or even if I implement, I'm going to see the result of it. So that connect will not be there, and hence the implementation may not happen. Training is effective when the content of the training program, teaching method, trainers' ability to teach well, and their ability to motivate also becomes important. Like I said some time ago, that the trainer, okay, need doesn't need to only focus on trainer should not be focusing only on the skill transfer because learning does not guarantee. Please understand that you all are going to be training professionals, and I've seen this happen. A lot of people come to training program. A lot of participants will come to training program with an objective of let me know what it is, and we are adult learners. Somebody else will be taking these topics also. So we are adult learners, and one of the principles of adult learning is that adults like to learn. Okay, but adults may not implement because adults, when they say like to learn, so adults like to know what is happening. So they want to be aware as to what is there, and then they want to judge themselves or evaluate or make a decision as to whether to implement the same or no. The implementation, okay, many times is also related to the consequences. So I may decide. So give an example. Each one of us knows that taking a morning walk exercise is good for us. So I may decide that yes, I would do that, and I may do a gym or some gym trainer or enroll and things like that. So all those things I may do, but I may not actually be regular in it. Many people are not regular in it because that is not based on certain consequences. Now, if a doctor tells me that, look here, if you don't take a walk for 5 kilometers every day or 3 kilometers every day, believe me, in 3 months' time, you're going to have a heart attack and you will die. The minute doctor tells me this, or a doctor tells somebody that you stop smoking, otherwise you will get cancer or this is happened, that is happened, your body cannot take it anymore. So that threat, the consequences of not implementing the learning, okay, is so high that the person is not motivated, but the person is compelled to implement. And that is where that is also one of the factors related to the training effectiveness. Why I'm relating all this is that because of that word motivation. If the trainer cannot motivate the participants to implement this learning, then believe me, the implementation will only be partial and that will be very difficult. So, what is training effectiveness? Point number 4, contents of training program, teaching methods, trainer's ability to teach well, and also the ability to motivate determine the effectiveness of the training. Are we together all? I hope we are. I'm not going too fast. Hello.
Yes, sir.
I hope I'm not going too fast.
Yes, sir. You're all good, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So now when to evaluate? All this is part of first chapter when you get the textbook. In that, Professor Veermani, who is a very well-known person in the field of training and development, has written many textbooks, and he is also one of pioneering members of ISTD, along with Pramila. So they had made a model. This model is a bit old, but still relevant, and it is also part of the curriculum. So I have to take it. Like I said, that training evaluation has 3 stages. One is the pre-training evaluation. So unless we know the level of competence of the person before the training, how shall we measure the impact of the training? So there is a pre-training evaluation period before training, during the training, and expectation from the course, etc. How to set that also we will see in some future sessions. Second is context and input evaluation, which is an in-process evaluation. So while the training is being delivered, training is being conducted, and especially if the training is a bit long duration training. So maybe a week's training, or like in pharma training for a medical representative, the training is for 3 weeks. So that's a long duration training. But even for a short duration training, you can do like I just now asked in between, that are we all together? Are we going in a pace fast, slow? So that itself gives me that okay, fine, I'm not doing too bad. So whether the program is short or long, we can do an in-process evaluation. And third is the post-training evaluation, which almost all organizations do, because it's a part of the documentation process and then fill up the form and all. Nowadays, so much of this is also part of the LMS. But if you see over here, you realize that the first and the second is done at very few places, or many times it is not done at all. If there are freshers, one can understand that probably pre-training evaluation may not be required. But if people have some amount of experience, and people we are honing the skills further, or we are taking them to the next level, then we definitely need to have the first level, where we need to know and understand that what was their level. That's where the training metrics and narrative and all that also comes into the picture. So, what is pre-training evaluation? It also includes the expectation setting. In this stage, an evaluation is made in the beginning of the training program in order to understand the expectation of the trainees from the training program and the extent to which they have understood the objectives. So, if there has not been uh, a structured process of doing a pre-training evaluation, then, as mentioned over here, what I do is uh, at the start of the program, generally in any training program, you will have introductions, and then you take up a session which is expectation set. So you ask the participant, what do you expect to learn from this? Or what are the problems that you have, you want to get solved or resolved, or you're looking for answers or things like that. So what happens is that the kind of problems that they share, or the expectations that they set, uh, gives an experienced trainer an understanding of what is their level of competence. So if somebody comes up with a thing like, I have a lot of optimism, my subordinate don't listen to me. So how do I make him listen to me. So then you understand that, okay, and if this is with quite a few people, then you understand that, even the basic skill of man management, etc. Participants are not so good at it. So you may want to put them at a certain level, and then of course you can't change so much in the training because PPT and all that. But then the explanations, the examples that you give, the connect that you make to the theory, and the and with along with live examples, will help them grasp or help them get what they are looking at. So in pre-evaluation, expectation setting, this helps enable the training segment to modify the training curriculum in such a way that the objectives of training program are aligned with the of the training. Now, the second point is more related to a structured way of pre-training evaluation, especially with respect to expectations. So, in pre-training evaluation, you can have questionnaire, and the same questionnaire will be at the end of the program, or you may design a questionnaire. You also, like I said, can ask for the expectation. So, if uh, the pre-training evaluation is done about 10 days before the program or so, then the trainer and the training department and everybody has enough time to tweak the curriculum as per the requirement of the participant. So, if you say that we are doing a program on communication skills, so the structure of the program, some how the whole day will go, would have been pre-decided. But based on the inputs given by participants, wherein a lot of people say that I have problems with written communication skills or email writing or this or that, then you know that okay, fine, the other things also I need to cover. But to this part, I will need to give more time than I have already scheduled. So which parts to cut off or squeeze it a little bit, and which are the ones that you need to focus on. So that is what the pre-training evaluation is all about. So it's not just about knowing where they are, okay, which is also about understanding what they want to learn. Like in the previous slide, I talked about that if the participant does not see a connect between between his current problems or between his career and the training, the participant is not motivated enough to learn from the training and then implement the same. So this is a step whereby we establish the level of competence, and also what the participant and other stakeholders are also expecting on the training. Then in process or intermediate training evaluation, which is step number 2, which is correction and verification. As per the big money model, training and development segment needs to ensure that training is progressing as per the expectation. So it is very important, especially if it is a full day program or a 3-day program, that at least every 2 sessions, that somebody who kind of has a feeling or understands, or faculty asks that, are you moving in the way you all are expecting? Is the learning happening? Is the pace or the style, etc., good enough? Mid-course corrections can be made in event of deviation from the target. Many times it so also happens that because of certain questions, because of the trainer himself also at times, the training may go into a tangent because the training can be focused back to the main topic. If the trainees perceive that the training program should be more practical oriented rather than the theory oriented, the feedback might be used to modify the existing instruction method. In other words, there are a whole lot of uh, on the spot improvement to the training delivery, which can be done by the trainer or the training part. So the participants tend to say that yes, all this looks good, but I'm not sure how to use it. Then on this, the trainer should be able to say, okay, fine, let us reduce the amount of time for the theory and all, but let us start a role play. So then the role play is nothing else but a more practice oriented, a more practical oriented, more skill oriented, whereby the participants see that how the learning can be converted into action. The role plays are like small scenarios. We all know role plays are like small trial scenes. So it's like how we do when we buy clothes and all. We do a trial. The role plays are like a trial. Try it out for yourself and see how comfortable you are. See whether it can be used. See if you foresee any problems and things like that. Because at the end of it, if you don't do it, you will not get the kind of result. So this also serves as a verifying tool that yes, we are going in the direction, and at the end of it, we are likely to get the kind of benefits, results, etc., that we are looking forward. Next is post-training evaluation, which is done at many places because of the standard forms which are there. And discussed about it. The purpose is success to measure the success and effectiveness. At the end of the training program, there should always be an evaluation report from the learners' feedback. So 20 participants giving certain kind of feedback, consolidated all those statistics used so that we get an overall picture. This report not only tells us how well the program was received by the learner, but also gives valuable insight into program's effectiveness. Because the sheet which we have is not only talking about the trainer, it is also talking about the need identification. So what is the program relevant to your needs? So need identification. Will you be able to put the learning into practice? Generally, these are the kind of questions. So will you be able to put learning into practice? So the course design. Then was the faculty fast flow, whatever. So if a lot of people say the faculty was fast, so then we need to identify by default the faculty's style is like this, or like it is happening here that we have to cover it up in 5 sessions. That the trainer has to go at a fast pace. So if the faculty, it is not the faculty style, then probably we are trying to jam pack too much of learning into lesser time, because of which the participants will not be able to assimilate, move through it, grasp it, and process that and implement. So, sorry. So it also gives us insights into these kind of dimensions of the training and helps us to understand that whether we should get into uh, uh, extending the day or how shall we do the learners feedback, like we see. Sorry for this part. Is one of the measures of how successful it was, because it is finally the participant who is telling us that how the whole thing has been and what was his comfort level related. This last point is very important. And like I said at the starting, that 20-30% of the evaluation process or the form needs to be tailor made to the type of the program, to the program itself. So, sorry. So at the start, when we are setting the learning objective, the training objective, and doing the training design, we need to simultaneously start designing, thinking as to if this is the objective, how it will be measured. Does my current standard evaluation form measure it? I may not have the the right or the facility to change the structure of the evaluation form. But nothing stopped me from adding one more sheet to it or one more dimension to it to improvise that evaluation and measure the objective and the implementation of the learning which is happening. And that's why it's very important that when we set the goal, when we set the objective, we need to think in terms of, or we need to start designing the evaluation. In the starting, I talked about the measurement and the evaluation. So measurement is a structured process. It is more related to the physical attributes, the measurable attributes that we talked about. That's why I use the Taylor example. Okay, so one can measure physical attributes only, and if one has to measure those attributes, it's going to be measured with the attribute two. So what are those tools which will be used? The efficacy of the tools, etc. Also needs to be thought about. The measurement tells us whether it happened as per the plan. The evaluation, but it doesn't tell us the impact of it. And that is where the evaluation arises. It helps us to understand the effectiveness of the training, as I mentioned. It helps in passing value judgment about the method, technique, policies, performance, strategy, effectiveness, etc. of the training. So, what is measurement? When one sort of numericals is assigned to a set of objectives, as per the accepted rules and described in standard words, with a definition. So I'm reading as it is, units and symbols, so as to characterize the status of the object is called the measurement. So, like it says that as per the accepted rules described in standard words, units, methods, symbols, of meters, liters, like that, that is called the measurement. In education, so in learning, measurement implies to the quantitative assessment of the student's performance in the examination. That's why I say at the end of the program, we need to measure. We need to have a question. And this measurement is typically about the knowledge content. That whether the person has acquired that knowledge, whether the person has acquired the required skill, and to what level. And it helps us to understand where the person has been. There are two types of measurement: the physical measurement and the mental measurement. In our training, we are more concerned with the mental measurement, which is the psychological measurement, which is the learning, etc. So the test that we talk about at the end of the program is actually a mental measurement. The learning is a mental measurement. The implementation of the learning, which is a skill, okay, is a physical. That how effective the person is implementing the learned concept. So how the person is actually doing it and the way in which it is done. So if you say for an electrician, how does he use a tester? And sorry, what to correct here? The tester, which is the physical. Mental measurement is you give him a screwdriver and a tester and say, or you can ask him a test that what would a tester, how would you differentiate between a screwdriver and a tester? So is he able to identify, does he have knowledge about it? Or you ask him that instead of a tester, if you use a screwdriver, a metal screwdriver, what can happen? Why is there a plastic component? Things like that. So then he has the clarity. He also understands through this theoretical knowledge that while he's on the field, he should not use a metal kind of a thing because the consequences of it can electrical shock. So that's a measurement. Physical measurement is how you actually use it and observing that you're using it. That's correct. What is evaluation? Evaluation can be defined as an act of assigning value to the data, like I've been saying, that it is the effectiveness, whether it is creating the desired result, the desired impact, and the desired improvement could be return on investment, could be quality. It is a continuous process in which the analysis of the outcome is derived from the measurement of the activity performed as per the defined standards. So if you come back to the car example, the person knows how to drive the car, okay, and he is aware of it. Evaluation will be whether he is driving the car safely, because that's where attitude and other things also come in, and is he driving rash, or the way in which he brakes, are there unnecessary jerks, is there sudden things or no? So that will be the evaluation. In evaluation, we pass judgment regarding how suitable, desirable, or valuable that performance of something is. So in education, which is training, evaluation indicates to the overall assessment of the program of the student with respect to the following factors. Defined objectives, efficiency of teaching, and effectiveness of the curriculum. So this is also in that sheet which we have, that whether the training is as per training, you know, to use the training, then about the faculty, knowledge, PPT, presentation, etc. And then what do you like or dislike about the program, or we are the question suggest something, or suggest how we can improve this program for the next batch. There are three aspects of evaluation, because evaluation is more important than vision. Because evaluation helps us to understand the impact of the vision. So evaluation is qualitative description plus quantitative description, as you can see on the top, and the value judgment about it. Where the quantitative description includes figures and facts, and the qualitative description includes the value, ranking, the way in which we look at it. Hence, in evaluation, the knowledge of the learner is not only aspect which is considered, rather all the factors which are important for user or development are also consideration. When we'll see a few models further in the third session or so, where we'll also see that the evaluation has to be done not only of the learner, but also of the ecosystem. Like I said in the starting, that if the ecosystem is not supporting, the person may have the motivation, but if the ecosystem is not supportive, the person will experience, the learner, he will experience frustration because of this implementation will not happen. There are four aspects of the evaluation: the objectives, the learning experience, the learner's appraisal, and the relationship between the, as you can see in the diagram over there. So what does the evaluation aim? It aims to determine the progress of the student, improving the learning system, and increasing the output of the outcomes. So broadly, the difference between the measurement and evaluation. Measurement is a procedure of determining the dimension and attributes of physical object. Can be skill also. These are quantitative measurements. Lubricants, so there are marks, values which are there. That's why we have a report card, etc. when we talk about the measurement. Focuses on one or more attribute or trait of a person or the object. It's content oriented. Why evaluation is an ongoing process of measuring and assigning qualitative meaning. So when we are evaluating, we say, okay, now you're becoming better. You can still become better. Practice makes a man perfect. All these are evaluations. So evaluation is more process oriented and more development. So it looks forward to a continuous improvement kind of a scenario. It is both qualitative and quantitative observations put together. And based on this, that judgment will be made. The assignment of grades or levels. So you in training, we have L1, L2, L3, L4. Covers all aspects, including effective. It's not effective, it is effective. The emotional factor, the cognitive factor, which is the learning, and the psychomotor, the skill. A good evaluation system will take into account all the three. So, a good evaluator or a good evaluation system will ask that, okay, if you found that this learning is good, do you think you will implement? If yes, why? If no, why? So it becomes effective. How much are you motivated to? It is objective oriented because at the end of it, we are looking at improvement. Evaluation is an indispensable part of the training system, which includes measurement. So, like we were discussing, measurement is the basic thing. It's an inner circle. Evaluation is a larger circle. It's about. So it includes the measurement. If you don't do the measurement, we will not be able to evaluate. So measurement gives us the basic data for evaluation. It helps in making improvement in training and learning, establishing objectives, determining learning experience, and assessing the performance of the learner, which we have discussed.
Abuka,
Hello?
Abuka.
Sorry, I think somebody's talking with me. Sorry. So why training evaluation fails? We have been talking about this. I'm capturing the slide. First is the unwillingness to do the training evaluation, both by the training manager, maybe learner, and sometimes trainer also, because evaluation pins down, non-performance. And over here, the parties are the training organizer, the learner, and the trainer. The party who is evaluated is the organization. So these are the four corners, four major stakeholders of the complete training process. So if we evaluate and when we evaluate and we find that the training has failed, it was not successful, etc., etc. Okay, then obviously in an organization, the next step is let's find out who at fault, because that person needs to be penalized and so much of time, effort, money, etc. Will be wasted. So evaluation, a proper good evaluation leads to who has been a non-performer in the major stakeholders of the training process. So that's why so many places it is not done. Why evaluation fails? Because deciding on right approach for training evaluation, not thought at things like I said at the initial stage, or not involving the trainer and other stakeholders. This happens because we tend to use some standard kind of an evaluation form, whether it is a behavioral training, whether it is a skill-based training, whether it is some other thing, whatever, whether it's a functional training at times. The same form cannot. It can give a guideline, but it cannot be one size fits all kind of thing. And the points or the way in which to evaluate should be thought about at the start when we set the objective. Lack of planning and poor timing evaluation is time consuming and one size fits all, like I say. So many times I see that the training coordinator, okay, so the person who is responsible for the physical training, the administrative aspects of training, things like that. So one of the responsibilities of that person is to ensure that by the end of the program, everybody scans the QR code or whatever and answers to the LMS or fill up the form. So for that person, it's more important at the end of it, I have completed the form. So to save time or whatever is the other reason, many times they distribute the form during the lunch break or during the tea break. The program is not at all. Okay. And then the participants also, they want to fill it up so that at the end of the program, exactly at 5:30 they can leave, so they don't miss out on the company bus or connecting vehicle or things like that. So then the whole purpose of a well thought about evaluation is lost and the whole thing becomes mechanical. So that's where the poor planning, timing, and asking participants, okay, can you quickly fill this up in 2 minutes, all that spoils the whole process. And sometimes they forget the evaluating or do it only when somebody is asking, or after 3 or 4 days after the program is sent, a lot of it is forgotten. So these are some of the reasons why the evaluation fails. Significance of training evaluation. We will talk about so many points. One is to gather information on how the learners access learning, how they're progressing. I'm talking about evaluation, not just measuring. So when we are talking about evaluation is a process which probably will go on even till 6 months after the training, because we are talking about continuous measurement. The previous slide I talked about it, that okay, now you are improving, you can still further improve. I think you are 70% level, you can reach 80% level. So that is a training evaluation, which may use the measurement aspect, because without measurement you can't do the evaluation. But the purpose is to infer or to make meaning out of that measurement. So to gather information on how it is happening. Second is getting concrete answers, and one most important concrete answer is return on investment. Today, the training during COVID period, there are a whole lot of Zoom training and things like we do now, which is happening. Okay, for two reasons. One is physically getting together, and secondly, it becomes economical. But then there are so many of these training, okay, which happen, but did not produce a result because it is more of one-sided. A lot of skill practice cannot be given. It can be more conceptual in nature or information giving in nature, but it cannot really become a major change agent. So a digital training can probably be a supplement to the main training, and these two hybrid kind of thing seem to be working better. Now all this has come up how, because we talk in terms of return. So even if the Zoom training or the virtual training was cheaper, maybe you will save 70% of the cost, but there was still 30% cost, and that 30% which was spent in terms of organizing people's time and salary, etc., did it give that kind of result? Did it produce the kind of objectives the training program had? If not, and definitely did not, and that's the reason now we are switching back to the hybrid. So getting concrete answers on these kind of questions like ROI, and why should we opt for e-learning, how will training help, or what further improvements are required, or what need to be changed, and all these questions which are there. Third is analyzing the training efficiency, not just the training functions. Like I said, the whole purpose of training is not just kind of a checklist that okay, this needs to be done when it is done, but the efficiency is to did it bring out or did we really see the kind of picture that we had visualized before the program. So while this may vary, when we find the role of training evaluation assessment, the reports often provide the bigger picture than analog because the analysis helps us to understand what are the four benefits of training evaluation. We are already at 5:30. I think I hope this doesn't switch off at 5:30. What are the benefits of training evaluation? One is accountability. This is important. Like I say, when we do a proper evaluation, it will help us to understand which of the stakeholder has not performed well. When this is known to all the stakeholders, it is factor, and hence automatically their performance. Credibility to the whole training process by participants, by the organization, by the user manager, and overall it is seen as a tool. So I would say, I would equate, or I would say training is like an R&D function or design function where they do, where a lot of credibility is given to certain new things which are happened. So it enhances the credibility because we are helping people to evolve. There's a feedback transparency. It boosts the training effectiveness. We have discussed all this at all levels. Okay. And lastly, I would say the evaluation process also helps to bring standardization to the learning strategy. So, friends, this is what, in a nutshell, is about the background and the foundation on which we are going to have the next few sessions and understand the training and the measurement function. Unfortunately, you don't have the textbooks, but this is all what you see in the textbook. So this is how we complete the first session. I'm sure you may have some questions to ask. I'm open to let me know if you have. Otherwise, we wind up the session and we meet the next time. Hello. Anybody would like to ask anything? Are we together?
Yes, sir, we are here. Nothing from our end.
Yeah, okay. And you wanted this PPT, so would somebody be sending me the email IDs of everybody? Do you have some group or something?
Sir, could you share it right away, sir?
Hmm?
Could you share it right now on
You
through
know,
chat?
that's it. So this is a part of a complete PPT. What I would like to do
Okay.
is, session by session, I would like to share. Because it's not that ultimately I'm going to cover that, but it's better that session by session share. So if you can, if somebody, my ID is CEO, then I can write it over there, right, in chat.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, certainly.
I put my ID on the chat.
So what I need to do, sir?
Who?
We need to send any mail on this?
No, no. So you were saying that there is some group or something, no? Of email group of your batch or something, or you have some coordinator or something.
Coordinator is Sarita madam only.
Okay, okay,
So
fine. So I'll take email IDs from her and send it all to you.
okay, sir.
Okay. Or if you have some WhatsApp group, I'll send it to her and she'll share. Okay.
Yes, sir. That will be good, sir. We are in the WhatsApp group. We
Okay.
can drop
Okay.
it in the
Fine.
WhatsApp group so everybody will get that.
Fine. 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 Fine.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. See you next session.
Thank you, sir.